The academy was buzzing with excitement. Aliens of all shapes, sizes, and colors moved through the tall, glassy halls, their voices echoing softly. Today was special. A new human child was arriving, and the aliens were eager to see what kind of Earth creature the human would bring as a class companion. Most expected something small, cute, and easy to handle. The doors of the classroom hissed open and all chatter stopped immediately. Every eye turned toward the new arrival. A small human child walked calmly into the room, carrying a large, reinforced crate. The crate was much bigger than the child, metal-bound and reinforced with heavy straps. It vibrated slightly as if something alive moved inside. The teacher, a tall blue-skinned alien with 6 arms, stepped forward. "Human child," they said, voice echoing slightly, "please present your class companion." The human child nodded quietly, their calm expression giving no hint of fear. They carefully set the crate down at the center of the room and pressed a button. The crate's doors slid open with a hiss, and the classroom was suddenly filled with a low, wet growl. A massive head emerged first, glistening scales reflecting the soft lights. The jaws opened slightly, revealing rows of sharp teeth. The creature's yellow eyes scanned the room slowly, stopping on the students. The aliens froze. It was a Deathworld apex predator, a creature of terrifying size and strength. Its thick body was at least 12 feet long, muscular and dangerous, with a tail that thumped lightly on the floor. The air seemed heavier as the students stared in disbelief. Some of the smaller alien students shrieked and stumbled back. One purple-skinned cadet fell off their chair entirely, wings flapping in panic. Another, tall and silver-scaled, whispered nervously, Is that safe?" The human child knelt beside the predator, whispering softly. The massive creature's head tilted slightly, then lowered. Its muscles relaxed. The child's small hand rested gently on the thick, scaly head, and the predator's glowing eyes softened. It exuded power and danger, yet it obeyed the child completely. A few brave students stepped closer, curiosity overcoming fear. "Does it obey you?" one of them asked, voice trembling. The human child looked up calmly. "Yes. It won't harm anyone unless I tell it to. It trusts me and I trust it." The classroom fell silent. The cadets had studied dangerous predators from Earth, but nothing could have prepared them for this. A Deathworld apex predator of this size was known to crush metal, destroy vehicles, and kill with ease. And yet, it lay calmly beside a child smaller than most of the alien students, completely obedient. A small, green-winged alien whispered to a friend, How can a human do this? Even we can't control creatures this strong." The child smiled faintly. "It's not about control," they said softly. "It's about trust. I don't make it obey with fear. It chooses to follow me." The predator, its massive tail curling slowly around the child, moved slightly closer to the desk. Every step was deliberate, calculated, and careful not to disturb anything. The students could feel the vibration of its tail as it shifted its weight. Even the teacher's multiple eyes widened in amazement. "Human child, this is remarkable," the teacher said, stepping closer. "Most apex predators cannot be guided without destruction. You have a unique skill." The human child nodded, patting the predator gently. "It's simple. Strength without understanding is dangerous. Shadow obeys because it trusts me and I respect it. That is why it is calm." The students whispered among themselves. "I thought humans were weak," one said. "But look at that. A human can command a creature that could destroy the entire classroom without even trying." Some of the braver students moved closer, carefully reaching out to touch the predator's thick scales. Shadow, as the human child had quietly named it, remained calm, tilting its massive head slightly to acknowledge them but never leaving the child's side. Its glowing yellow eyes scanned the room slowly, exuding power, awareness, and intelligence. By the end of the first lesson, the initial shock had slowly turned into fascination. The students realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. They had expected a small, harmless pet, yet here was a creature that could have terrified an entire planet, and it was obedient to a single human child. The teacher looked around at the silent, awestruck classroom. "This human, they are unlike any cadet we have had. Strength, patience, and intelligence combined. Observe carefully, cadets, for there is much to learn." The human child smiled again, standing slowly, with Shadow leaning slightly against them. The predator's body was massive and dangerous, but every student could see it obeyed willingly, without fear or coercion. The message was clear: humans were not ordinary. Even a child could command a force of nature that no alien could hope to control. By the end of the day, every cadet understood something important. Humans were extraordinary. They could bond with the most dangerous creatures through trust and understanding alone. Shadow's obedience and calm demeanor were proof that humans were clever, courageous, and capable of remarkable feats. The classroom may have fallen silent at first, but by the end of the day, it was filled with admiration. Humans were something else entirely, and the Academy had just witnessed the beginning of an incredible story. The classroom was quiet at first, but the silence quickly turned into nervous whispers. The alien cadets stared at Shadow, the massive Deathworld predator, lying calmly beside the human child. Its glowing yellow eyes scanned the room slowly, muscles rippling under thick scales. Every movement seemed deliberate and powerful, and the students could feel the vibrations from its tail thumping lightly against the floor. Some smaller cadets shrank back in fear. One purple-skinned student squeaked and climbed onto their desk, wings fluttering. It's huge," they whispered, trembling. Another, covered in silver scales, muttered, "How can it be calm? It could crush us all if it wanted." The human child remained calm, kneeling beside Shadow. They whispered softly, and the predator's head tilted slightly, lowering to the ground. Its glowing eyes softened, but its body still radiated raw strength. The human's calm presence seemed to tame the danger, but the aliens weren't sure how. A tall green-skinned cadet whispered to their neighbor, "Humans are so small, how can they control something that could destroy the room?" The teacher, blue-skinned with 6 arms, stepped forward carefully. "Cadets, do not approach the predator. It is under the human's guidance, but it is still extremely dangerous. Observe from a safe distance." Despite the warning, a few curious students edged closer. Shadow's head turned toward them, jaws opening slightly, revealing rows of sharp teeth. The students froze in fear, and the massive tail thumped against the floor again. Even the bravest cadets felt their hearts race. The human child spoke softly. "Easy, Shadow. Stay calm." The predator lowered its head once more, moving its massive body to rest on the floor without harming anything. The room fell silent again, but tension remained. Every student understood that this creature could kill them in seconds if it wanted to. Suddenly, one student accidentally dropped a small object. It clattered across the floor. Shadow's head snapped toward the sound, muscles tensing, eyes glowing brighter. The tail thumped harder, shaking the floor slightly. A wave of panic swept through the classroom. Chairs rattled, wings flared, and a few students shrieked. The human child immediately crouched and whispered firmly, "Easy, Shadow. Ignore them." The predator relaxed instantly, lowering its massive head again. The room went quiet, but the cadets could feel their fear mixing with awe. One alien whispered to another, wings trembling, "I've studied predators from Earth. None of them obey humans this easily. How is this possible?" Another muttered, "It's not just obedience. It's respect." The predator trusts the human completely. The teacher nodded slowly. "Observe carefully, cadets. This is not just about size or strength. It is about intelligence, patience, and connection. The human has earned the predator's loyalty. Notice how fear does not drive obedience here." A smaller cadet leaned closer to whisper to their friend, "I thought humans were weak. But look at them. Even a child can command a creature that could destroy this entire classroom." The human child stood and walked slowly to the front of the room. Shadow followed, massive body moving with precision. Each step was careful, controlled, and measured. The cadets watched, tense but fascinated. The predator's glowing eyes swept over every student, yet it did not act aggressively. The human addressed the classroom softly. "Shadow is strong and dangerous. But strength without understanding is chaos. We follow each other because we trust one another. That is why it stays calm." Some students began to relax slightly, though fear still lingered. A few stepped forward, testing the distance, touching the edge of Shadow's thick scales. The predator allowed it, leaning slightly toward the human but showing no aggression. Its glowing eyes followed each movement carefully, aware of every motion in the classroom. By the end of the session, the panic had shifted to cautious fascination. The students realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. They had expected a harmless pet, but they were seeing a creature that could have destroyed the room, guided perfectly by a human child smaller than any of them. The teacher spoke quietly, almost to themselves. "This human, they are unlike any cadet we have trained. Patience, intelligence, courage, and the ability to earn loyalty from the most dangerous predator. Humans are remarkable." The human child knelt beside Shadow again, patting its massive head. The predator leaned into the touch, exuding trust and obedience. Every cadet in the room understood the lesson. Fear alone does not command strength. Trust, patience, and understanding do. As the students left, their whispers carried admiration mixed with disbelief. Humans were unlike any species they had encountered. They could bond with the deadliest creatures, guide them without force, and remain calm in situations that would terrify any alien. By the end of the day, the classroom had learned something important. Humans were clever, brave, and capable of feats no other species could manage. Shadow had demonstrated raw power, but the human child had demonstrated something far more extraordinary: the unique potential of humans themselves. The fear had not disappeared completely, but it had transformed into respect and awe. Humans were something else entirely, and the academy had just begun to understand why. The classroom was tense as the teacher announced the next exercise. Today, the cadets would see just how powerful the Deathworld predator could be under the human child's guidance. Even the bravest aliens whispered nervously, glancing at Shadow, whose massive body rested beside the child. Every muscle rippled under thick scales, and its glowing yellow eyes scanned the room with quiet intelligence. "Human child," the teacher said, 6 arms raised, "show us what you and your companion can do." The human child nodded calmly. "Shadow, follow my lead. Watch carefully." The predator rose smoothly, its claws clicking softly on the floor. Every movement was deliberate. It was terrifyingly large, yet it moved with precision, balance, and control that none of the alien cadets had ever seen. The first part of the exercise was a series of floating obstacles. Platforms moved unpredictably in the air, forcing cadets and their pets to adjust quickly. Most alien pets panicked immediately, slipping and tripping. Shadow, however, moved as if it had done this 100 times. Its massive claws landed perfectly on the platforms, tail balancing with each step, eyes focused on the human's subtle gestures. The students gasped. "It's impossible," whispered one purple-skinned cadet. "No predator that size could move so smoothly." The human child's voice was calm and quiet. "Left, steady, now." Shadow obeyed instantly, leaping and shifting with incredible speed. Even the fastest cadet pets struggled to keep up. Next came the simulated attack. Holographic predators lunged unpredictably from all directions. The smaller alien pets panicked immediately, running in every direction, some even attacking each other by mistake. Shadow, however, responded with lightning reflexes. Its jaws snapped shut near the holograms without touching a single student. Its massive claws intercepted attacks, careful and precise. The cadets watched in disbelief. "How is it possible?" whispered a silver-scaled alien. "Even trained predators cannot do this. It's like they're thinking together." The teacher nodded slowly. "Observe carefully. Strength alone is meaningless. This is about intelligence, patience, and connection. The human has earned Shadow's complete trust." The final part of the exercise was the obstacle trap. Spinning barriers, shifting platforms, and sudden hazards were designed to test reflexes and coordination. Most cadets' pets froze or panicked. Shadow analyzed the room calmly. Its massive head moved side to side, tail sweeping slowly for balance, claws adjusting on the floor. Each step was measured, precise, and graceful. The human child whispered, "Step forward, now steady." Shadow obeyed immediately, dodging every spinning barrier and leaping over each hazard flawlessly. The holographic predators lunged again, but Shadow intercepted them carefully, neutralizing the threat without harming a single object. The classroom was silent except for the soft thumping of Shadow's tail. Every cadet stared, eyes wide. Even the smallest aliens could feel the vibrations from the predator's massive body. They had never seen power combined with such control. One green-winged cadet whispered, "No one could do this except a human. They are incredible." Another cadet added, "It's more than strength. It's strategy, intelligence, and trust. Humans can bond with the strongest predators like no one else." The teacher, impressed, stepped closer. "Human child, your connection with Shadow is extraordinary. Most predators cannot be guided in this way. You have shown skill, courage, and intelligence beyond what we have seen." The human child crouched and patted Shadow's massive head. The predator leaned slightly into the touch, a quiet display of trust and obedience. The cadets could see that this was not fear, it was mutual respect. The final holograms disappeared, and Shadow settled beside the human again. The room remained silent for a moment as everyone processed what they had witnessed. The predator was enormous, deadly, and intelligent, but completely obedient to a child smaller than any of the cadets. "Remember," the human said softly, addressing the classroom, "strength alone does not make you powerful. Trust, patience, and understanding create true strength. Shadow follows me because we respect each other. The students whispered to each other, eyes wide. They had expected a pet that might be cute or manageable. Instead, they had witnessed raw power, intelligence, and obedience far beyond anything they could imagine. By the end of the lesson, the fear that had gripped the classroom was gone. In its place was awe and admiration. Every cadet realized that humans were not ordinary. They were clever, brave, and capable of forming bonds with creatures that no alien could control. Even the teacher admitted quietly to a colleague, humans are something else entirely. They can command strength that would terrify any other species. The human child stood calmly, patting Shadow one last time. The predator shifted slightly, nuzzling the child's side in a quiet gesture of loyalty. The classroom had seen it all: danger, control, and extraordinary courage. By the end of the day, every cadet understood a simple truth: humans were capable of incredible feats. Shadow had shown raw power, but the human child had shown something far more important: the intelligence, patience, and bravery that made humans extraordinary. The whispers followed the cadets as they left the classroom. Humans were clever, humans were brave, and humans could achieve the impossible. Shadow was powerful, yes, but the human child had shown the true strength lay not in the predator but in themselves. By the next morning, the story of the human child and Shadow had spread across the academy. Students from every classroom whispered excitedly in the halls. Even the teachers admitted quietly that they had never seen anything like it. No one had ever witnessed a human, especially a child, guide a creature as dangerous as a Deathworld apex predator so calmly and perfectly. The human child walked into the classroom, Shadow following closely. The predator's massive scales shimmered under the soft lights, and its glowing yellow eyes scanned the room. Every student fell silent. They remembered the fear and chaos from earlier exercises, but now their nervousness had shifted into curiosity. They wanted to see more. The teacher, blue-skinned with 6 arms, addressed the class. Today we will observe the human and Shadow. I want every cadet to understand the strength of trust, control, and respect. The human child nodded calmly. Shadow, stay beside me. Observe the cadets, but do not react unless I command. Shadow lowered its massive head, tail sweeping slowly along the floor. The predator's calm presence filled the room, and for the first time, the students felt awe instead of fear. They had seen its strength, but now they would see the bond between the human and the creature. A small alien with purple wings whispered to their friend, "Humans are so small, how can they guide a beast that could destroy a building?" Another green-skinned cadet added, "It's not just strength. It's intelligence, patience, and connection. The human child has something we cannot even imagine." The human child motioned for Shadow to rise. The predator's massive body moved smoothly, every step calculated, muscles rippling under thick scales. Its glowing eyes scanned the classroom carefully, but it did not act aggressively. The students leaned forward, mesmerized by the display of raw power and perfect obedience. The teacher spoke quietly, almost to themselves. "Observe carefully. Most predators of this size cannot be controlled without destruction. The human has earned Shadow's loyalty. Notice how trust replaces fear here." The human child knelt beside the predator and patted its massive head. "It's simple," the child said softly. "Shadow obeys me because we trust each other. Respect creates strength. Force would only cause chaos." A few students, emboldened, carefully approached Shadow. They reached out to touch the edge of its thick scales. Shadow leaned slightly toward the human, showing awareness and loyalty, but remained calm. Its glowing eyes followed every movement, never threatening yet radiating power. The classroom was filled with quiet whispers. "I've studied predators from Earth. None of them can be guided this way," one cadet said. Another replied, "It's more than guidance. It's a bond. Humans can form connections no other species can." The teacher nodded. "This is a lesson in courage and understanding. Humans earn respect not through fear but through patience and intelligence. Even the deadliest predator obeys them willingly." The human child stood slowly, motioning for Shadow to follow. The predator rose gracefully, moving in a controlled circle around the classroom. Its tail thumped softly, muscles flexing with every step. The cadets watched in awe. Every movement of the predator was deliberate, yet it radiated obedience. "Humans are clever and brave," whispered a silver-scaled cadet. "They can earn loyalty from creatures that would terrify anyone else. This is extraordinary." The human child spoke softly to the cadets. "Remember, strength alone does not create respect. Trust, patience, and understanding create true power. Shadow follows me because I do not harm it and I respect it. That is why it is calm." By the end of the lesson, the classroom had completely changed. Fear had turned into admiration. Students no longer saw Shadow as a threat, they saw a symbol of power guided by intelligence. And they no longer saw the human child as ordinary, they saw someone extraordinary. Even the quietest and most skeptical cadets admitted silently to themselves that humans were special. They were clever, courageous, and capable of achievements that no alien species could match. Shadow's calm obedience and immense power had proven it. The teacher finally addressed the class. Humans are unlike any species we have encountered. Their courage, intelligence, and ability to earn loyalty from even the most dangerous creatures make them exceptional. Today we have witnessed this firsthand. The human child stood calmly, patting Shadow's massive head once more. The predator shifted slightly, leaning into the child's side, showing complete trust and loyalty. The bond between them was obvious to every cadet. As the students left the classroom, whispers filled the halls. They had expected a harmless pet. Instead, they had seen a living force of nature obey a human perfectly. They had seen courage, patience, and intelligence combined in ways no alien had ever imagined. By the end of the day, the Academy had learned something important. Humans were extraordinary. They could command loyalty, bravery, and intelligence from even the most dangerous creatures. Shadow had shown raw power, but the human child had shown something far more remarkable: the potential of humans themselves. The whispers followed the cadets as they moved through the halls. Humans were clever, humans were brave, and humans could achieve feats no one else could. Shadow's obedience was a testament to the extraordinary nature of humans. From that day on, the human child and Shadow were no longer just a student and a predator, they were a lesson. A lesson in courage, intelligence, patience, and respect. And the Academy would never forget it. By the end of the week, the story of the human child and Shadow had spread across the Academy like wildfire. Every cadet whispered in the halls, sharing what they had seen. Teachers quietly admitted that they had never witnessed anything like it. Humans were no longer ordinary, they were something else entirely. The human child entered the classroom, Shadow following closely. The predator's massive body glistened under the soft lights, and its glowing yellow eyes scanned the room slowly. Every student fell silent. They remembered the fear and awe from earlier exercises, but now their nervousness had changed into respect and curiosity. Everyone wanted to see the human's abilities again. The teacher, blue-skinned and six-armed, addressed the class. Today we will observe the final demonstration. Humans, show us what it means to earn respect through strength and intelligence. The human child nodded calmly. Shadow, stay close. Watch carefully, but do not act unless I ask. Shadow's massive body shifted, tail sweeping lightly along the floor. Its glowing eyes followed the human's gestures, alert but obedient. The room was quiet, filled with tension and anticipation. The students could feel the power radiating from the predator's massive form. The exercise began. Holographic threats appeared, predators and obstacles designed to challenge reflexes and coordination. Most alien cadets' pets panicked immediately, running or attacking without control. Shadow, however, moved with unmatched precision. Its massive claws landed exactly where they needed to, tail balancing every step, jaws snapping close to the holograms without harming anything. The students watched in disbelief. How can a human guide a creature that could destroy the room? Whispered a silver-scaled cadet. Another whispered, it's not fear. It's respect. The predator obeys because it trusts the human completely. The human child moved slowly, giving subtle commands. Left, steady, now. Perfect. Shadow obeyed immediately, dodging spinning barriers, leaping over obstacles and intercepting every holographic threat with incredible skill. The predator's glowing eyes scanned constantly, but it never acted aggressively unless the human instructed. One small cadet, wings trembling, whispered, humans are clever, brave, they can do things no other species can. The teacher nodded slowly. Observe carefully. Strength alone is meaningless. This is intelligence, patience, and trust combined. Humans earn loyalty not by force but by respect. The final part of the exercise involved a simulated attack from all directions. Holographic predators lunged unpredictably, but Shadow moved faster than anyone expected. Its massive body twisted and shifted, neutralizing every threat with precision. No student was harmed, no object was damaged. Every movement radiated power, intelligence, and complete obedience to the human. The classroom was silent except for the soft thump of Shadow's tail. Every cadet stared, eyes wide. Even the teachers looked on in awe. They realized that humans were unlike any species they had ever encountered. Humans could bond with the deadliest predators and guide them with patience, understanding and intelligence. The human child crouched beside Shadow, patting the predator's massive head. Shadow leaned slightly, nuzzling the child in quiet approval. The cadets understood what they were witnessing: strength guided by intelligence, courage and mutual respect. "Remember," the human said softly, addressing the classroom, "strength without understanding is dangerous. Trust and respect create true power. Shadow follows me because I respect it and it trusts me. That is why it is calm and obedient." The students whispered among themselves, amazed. They had expected a small, harmless pet. Instead, they had seen a living force of nature obey a human perfectly. They had seen courage, intelligence, and trust combined in a way that no alien species could achieve. By the end of the session, the classroom had changed completely. Fear had transformed into admiration. Students no longer saw Shadow as a threat. They saw a symbol of power guided by intelligence. They no longer saw the human child as just another student. They saw someone extraordinary. Even the quietest and most skeptical cadets admitted silently that humans were special. Humans were clever, brave, and capable of earning loyalty from even the most dangerous creatures. Shadow had shown raw power, but the human child had demonstrated something far more extraordinary: the potential of humans themselves. The teacher finally spoke to the class. Humans are not ordinary. Their courage, skill, and ability to earn loyalty from creatures that could destroy entire cities make them exceptional. Today we have witnessed it firsthand. The human child stood calmly, patting Shadow once more. The predator leaned slightly into the child's side, showing complete loyalty and trust. The bond between them was clear to everyone in the room. As the students left, their whispers filled the hallways. Humans were clever, humans were brave, and humans could achieve things no other species could. Shadow's obedience was a testament to the extraordinary nature of humans. From that day on, the human child and Shadow were more than a student and a pet. They were a lesson. A lesson in courage, intelligence, patience, and respect. The Academy would never forget it. Every cadet knew one thing for certain: humans were something else entirely. They could tame strength, inspire loyalty, and achieve the impossible. They were clever, fearless, and extraordinary. And Shadow was proof that humans were truly unique in the galaxy.